In the 1830s, protesters marched through the streets of Paris against the doctrines of Louis-Philippe I. And as they marched, they banged tin pans to get attention. Now, I don't have a tin pan. Tin pans are very hard to come by these days. This is actually an aluminum pan. Tin pans were very popular in the early 1800s because tin was easy to smelt and you could make it into pans. Today, it's very hard to find an actual tin pan. Now, tin is a very, very interesting metal. It's very malleable, so you can form it into all kinds of objects, and it found very, very extensive use in the coating of steel in order to protect food from being in contact with steel. Where would you want to do that? In cans of food and cans of other products. Also to protect the can from corroding away. For example, here we have a can is made of metal, and I can tell you that it is made of metal because if I take my magnetic ring here, see that it sticks to it? Now, tin is non-magnetic, and if this sticks, it means that only the thin layer is tin, underneath it is iron. When you combine tin with copper, you get pewter, and this is pewter, and as you can see, it is non-magnetic. Now, tin pans, as I said, were hard to come by now, but in the 1800s, easy to come by. And here is one of those. This was called a cowboy tin pan because it's very light. Cowboys used to carry it around and cook over campfires with it. And this really was tin, as you can see. It is not attracted to by the magnet. But why am I talking about tin? Aside from tin pans, it was also used for panning for gold. And here's one of those. This is what they used to use in the 1800s to pan for gold. But the reason that I'm talking about this is because I like the music of the early 1900s. And that is music that was written in New York. Tin Pan Alley. Tin Pan Alley was 28th Street and 5th Avenue, roughly in New York. And this is where all the music publishers were located. Now, in those days, if you wanted to hear music, you basically had to listen to live music as played on a piano. Although Edison had introduced the phonograph, it hadn't spread widely yet. And these music publishers would often hire musicians to play in order to attract crowds to buy sheet music. Oh, people like Irving Berlin would play there. And Irving Berlin, of course, very, very famous. Things like Alexander's Ragtime Band. He would plunk away at the piano to attract customers. But the sound was kind of tinny because the pianos were not very sophisticated. They were cheap and they were pounded on all the time. And this is thought to be the reason that the district there developed the name of Tin Pan Alley. Well, today, Tin Pan Alley as such doesn't really exist. The buildings are still there, and there's actually a sign on those buildings to remind us of Tin Pan Alley. And if I ever get a chance to go to New York again, after this COVID business is all done with, I'm going to go down there and take a look because this is really a very, very historic district. So that's the reason that I got interested in talking about tin. And today, of course, tin still plays a very large part in our life because we still have what we call tin cans, except that they're not really made of tin. They're made of steel with a tin coating, as you can see. And sometimes today we even call aluminum cans tin cans, and they're really not. And I know that this is aluminum because, as you can see, it is not attracted to a magnet. So there you have learned something about tin and Tin Pan Alley. Now go and listen to Irving Berlin's Alexander's Ragtime Band.